You're listening to the Patriot Nation podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation podcast, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. Make sure you download and subscribe to all of those great shows, including all the ones on the Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel, of course, but everywhere else with Red Sox going on and Bruins about to get started and Celtics about to get started as well. You want to be down and listening to all of those CLNS network podcast. But tonight, it's your boys over here at Patriot Nation Podcast. Me, Pat Lane, here with my guy, Matt St. Jean. And Matt, I have a question for you to start the show. Who has better hands, Nelson Aguilar or Jarren Duran? What do you think?
I'm not trusting either one of them to catch a baby, that's for sure. Man,
Goodness
not a great Red Sox. Look, this has already been a weird series. I have a hard time fixating on any one specific thing that has happened in either game because, like, the defining plays so far are Duran, who's usually a good outfielder, at least decent, totally muffing a ball.
Yep.
And Aaron Judge with an injured arm not being able to get a ball to second base on what should have been a single in game one.
Well, Aaron Judge found the grass and knocked in a run, apparently. That's what they said. That was a hit. Not an error,
apparently,
which is wild.
But we are a stressful, tense series so far.
Yeah,
not at all shocked this is going 3 games. I think both teams feel like the one they lost was winnable.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? Whether we win or lose, obviously I want to win. But whether we win or lose, this is nice to see. This is what we want out of Red Sox Yankees. Hopefully tomorrow night's the same super stressful, like every single pitch matters type of thing, right?
Well, no, I'd rather blow them out.
I mean, obviously, but this is, clearly, but this is, I think the hard thing for me is that you felt like the Red Sox, and what's so interesting is that the Red Sox last night with the aggressiveness on the base paths to take second base, as you mentioned with Aaron Judge, not playing that ball fast enough. And that basically winning the game for the Red Sox. And tonight, you have the opposite happens where, he leaves from second base. It's 3-2. He's already leaving at the crack of the bat. And Jazz Chisholm makes a great play. He should have scored on that. There's no doubt in my mind he should have been going from third to home on that play. And he didn't. And then on the other side of it, Jazz Chisholm leaves from first base and scores on a double. And, those things, that's what wins the game for the Yankees. And so you look at it and say, all right, well, the aggressiveness and not making those mistakes. I mean, I'm sorry, man, but, you can't get a bunt down. What do you like? After the first bunt attempt, if I was outscored, I would have said, all right, whoa, nope, you're not bunting. However you hit, because that's a mess.
Rafael has had some good at bats out there,
right?
Yeah, I will say, I think both teams that lost had at some point in the game bases loaded, no outs, and didn't score. So,
yeah,
I think the Red Sox had that in the third, fourth, whatever that was. So
something early, yeah.
So that's I feel like that ends up being also very much a defining thing of both of those games, missed opportunities. I will say the not sending at third ends up being this really weird scenario where, because there's 2 outs in almost every single situation, he should just be going because you keep going until the play stops. But I think what they thought was going to happen is the runner was going to be safe, but the first baseman was going to corral the ball, which is the one scenario where you can't send. And it's just I don't know. I thought that was probably the right call and a really brutal bounce to But I don't know. It's a game inches. These teams are both good. They're pretty evenly matched, especially with no Roman Anthony. So tomorrow's going to come down to young pitchers and depth and bullpens and guys who haven't made noise yet, and it'll be something, that's for sure.
Should be fun to watch. And Jack makes a great point here that, you hope this series and the taste of the playoffs makes Henry spend some money. And I hope that that's the case. And listen, they did it with Garrett Crochet last year. I'm hoping they do the same thing with Joe Ryan this year. They tried to trade for him aggressively at the deadline. They couldn't do it.
I will say, I'm a little bit skeptical on the Joe Ryan stuff because he had like a 7-something ERA in the second half of the year, or at least after the trade deadline. And that might just be that the Twins kind of gave up at that point. He didn't have defense behind him, and the coaches were invested. And it could just be stuff around him. But he's also like 4 years older than Crochet. Like, he's not young. He's in his 30s already.
It's a fair point.
Not opposed to getting him, but I want to explore all options. I don't want to lock myself.
They may not have to be Joe Ryan. They need a pitcher. I mean, they don't have a guy that can pitch tomorrow night. So, that's not ideal.
Also, incredibly bad luck that you've had at least 3 guys you felt really good about all year, and then Giolito gets hurt right at the end of the year, and you've got 10 pitchers out right now, and
right.
What do you call it? And then Bayo just didn't have it. He didn't pitch much. Can they just have him go again tomorrow?
Yeah,
Try
right.
again.
Yeah.
But this is baseball.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's get into the football side of things, though.
Mm-hmm.
The football side of things. For the Patriots, any leftover takes from last Sunday's game? I really thought that you kind of go back and you're so impressed with a few things, but I thought for me, the mic'd up stuff for me.
Yes.
The culture that Vrabel is trying to build in the locker room. We talked about it a little bit after the game, but the culture that Vrabel's trying to build is obvious. It's intentional. It's, Hunter Henry scores that touchdown, and the first thing that Vrabel says to him is, "Hey, great job. Pop sprung you." And then Henry makes it a point to go over there and tell Pop, "Hey, you sprung me. Great job. That's a great work by you." That stuff matters. Buying into the team and giving up part of yourself for the team, that matters. And that's what he's trying to build here. And so, now whether that's going to work or not, I don't know. But I like the fact that he's doing that. And again, I keep going back to that week 2 with Borregales where he gives him the game ball. And we value mental toughness. We value the fact that you're going to make mistakes. But when the game matters, when the game is on the line, you come through and you make the right play. And that's what we care about.
It feels like the Belichick Patriots, except tuned 20 percentage points towards caring about the positive stuff over the negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of that same focusing on the little things, but I think a little bit more forgiving, and like we said, it's less so about the mistakes and more so about, all right, well, if you made that mistake and we're still in this game, next time you gotta make it right.
Right.
And if you do, you're going to be rewarded. And we win this game, then we go on to the next one, which I love. And look, we always talk about how coaches love the gritty players, and just you see that rewarded too with them emphasizing the receivers blocking. And it's you see it on the touchdown where they're saying it about Pop blocking downfield. But I guarantee they're also talking in the meeting room about Stephon Diggs blocking down the field on that Trevion? Or Antonio Gibson jet sweep.
Right.
And Mac Hollins blocking down the field the next play when it's Ramondre with the ball. And that's the buy-in. I think you see it with Diggs too. It's just getting the guys to care about doing the little things in service of the win, even if they're not getting the big impact plays. Knowing that if you keep doing the little things, that gets you the opportunities to make the big plays.
Yeah.
Which does feel like a good time to bring that up with all the A.J. Brown drama going on right now. Someone who has not, they're winning and he's not getting the ball, and that's ruffling feathers. I think things will just end up being fine in Philly. I just think he's agitating because he wants the ball a little bit, and they're going to get him the ball, and then they're going to be fine. But
I mean, I also think at a certain point, you can't complete 0 passes in the second half and be okay with that.
Yeah,
that's wild, and I get it. I understand they're still winning and everything else. That's fine, but their goal is to win a championship. You know what I mean? You can't win a championship completing 0 passes in the second half of any game. I don't care whether you win or not. That's but anyways, I do think too. Nikhil makes a good point here. We can take care of business against bad teams, right? We did not do that last year. The Patriots did not do that. We're not a bad team. We're not a good team, but we can beat these bad teams. And of course, I say that, and we just barely beat the Dolphins, and looks like the Raiders aren't a very good team either. And Steelers might be a little bit better than maybe we thought, but nevertheless, you feel like these are the bad teams. We should be able to beat those bad teams, whereas the Jets can't. The Dolphins, I mean, I guess they beat the Jets, so sure, but can you be, you're one of the bad teams, but can you be like one of the best of the bad teams? And now you're somewhere around 20, or 22 or something like that, and can you be around there? Now you're picking at 10th or 11th, and you feel like better about that. Obviously, people wanted to make the playoffs this year, and I understand that, right? But like, can you jump up 8 to 10 spots and feel good about where you're at right now?
Well, I wanna go back and kind of make a comparison to a previous Patriots team here, looking at this week where we are.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to 2020 of all groups. I don't know if
Yep.
you know what I'm thinking here. We might be on the same page with this. For those who don't remember, late in the season that year, Patriots take a trip to LA. They play the Chargers. They beat the crap out of the Chargers. The final score 45-0.
Was that on Halloween night? I feel like that was on Halloween.
No, this was December. The Halloween one is the one the next year where Adrian Phillips gets the pick at the end.
Okay.
Pick 6. But this is the one where Gunnar Olszewski has a punt return touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
Got it.
Which I think this might be. We talked about Gunnar Olszewski before with his best punt return games. I think this is the third best punt return game of all time in Patriots history for yardage.
Okay.
And they go out there and they demolish them. That gets the Patriots to 6-6. That gets you an opportunity in prime time the next week. It's short rest Thursday Night Football, but against the Rams, a team that would go to the playoffs that year, a team that would add Matthew Stafford the following offseason and win a Super Bowl. You had to go play them in prime time. And what do you do off of that 45-0 win? You lose 24-3. Yeah. In a game where the offense was, never competitive. 220 yards of offense in that one. And that feels high from what I remember in that game. So I think that's kind of, if you want to make the comparison, that was a Patriots team that we expected to be middling, that was middling, that won 7 games. And they showed that they were capable of winning against bad teams, but it didn't necessarily mean that they could win against good teams. Biggest factor there, I think, was quarterback play.
Right.
So that, I think, is the difference, and that's why the headline we got down there is May and Allen facing off the Sunday night.
Yeah, you feel like, the way Drake May's playing right now, and listen, it's been 4 games, right? It's been 4 games against 4 mediocre to bad football teams, right? I think the Steelers are a fine football team. Maybe a little bit better than I thought. I thought they were going to be hot garbage, and they're a little bit better than that. As I said, the other 3 are what the other 3 are, right? So, you take it with a grain of salt. Let's not crown him the MVP just yet, right? But he's played very well in those 4 games. He's made some dreadful mistakes. He made some bad mistakes. But, overall, I've been very happy with what I've seen from Drake. Man, I feel like anyone that's been paying attention has to feel that way as well. So then you look at it and say, okay, well, now here we are with the Patriots. All right, well, we have Drake May. And we feel like this is the first real test on prime time against the Bills, divisional opponent, big game. Everyone's going to be watching. And now what can the kid go out and do? And, does he play well in this game? And if he does, now you feel like, okay, we're on our way. We're on our way to feeling good about it.
Yeah. I do want to back up for 1 second before we get into this game and highlight something. Because I want to go back to the point about just punishing bad teams and being able to beat up on those teams. Taylor Kyle also tweeted this earlier today. For those who don't know, Ben Baldwin, he puts together, he calls them the objective power rankings, which he just, based on the betting lines that we've seen, he uses those to create power rankings based off of how teams are favored. Patriots are 18th right now in that they're in that middle group of teams, which is a very big group right now. But looking at the schedule, the teams that are like definitively bad, so the tiers that he calls them mostly bad, completely bad, and unfathomably bad. You got the Bears, you got the Ravens, Patriots play them. You got the Dolphins, Patriots play them again. You got the Browns, the Patriots play them. You got the Jets, the Patriots play them twice, so up to 5 games against these teams. You got the Giants, the Patriots play them. You've got the Saints, the Patriots play them. You've got the Bengals, the Patriots play them, and the Titans, the Patriots play them. If you just, and we'll leave out the Ravens because I think they'll probably be better than what they are, but the rest of those teams, you'd hope to be able to beat them. And I think if like my skepticism coming into this year was I didn't think the Patriots schedule would end up being quite as bad as we thought it might be. Right now, it looks like it's every bit as bad.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do what you did last Sunday and just like have a couple individual performers step up and you get good quarterback play, a couple good individual performances, special teams, defense, offense, guys around the quarterback who can do things, and you just don't turn the ball over, you should go undefeated in this group of teams, again, except for Baltimore, because I think they're an exception here. That alone, with the 2 wins you have, probably gets you into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's without, being able to notch a win against Buffalo or Atlanta at home or Tampa Bay.
Right.
Which I think all those, and this week I think is winnable. Unlikely, obviously, but you got a real chance.
Right. And that's how you feel, right? Heading into this game, it feels like you have a chance. And that's more than I can say for the last 4 or 5 years against the Bills. The Bills are really good. Really, really good. And it's funny, I go back to 2020, and when you played the Bills, that to me is kind of that first game where the Bills were finally able to beat the Patriots. And, the Patriots are driving down to score a touchdown, and Cam Newton fumbles. Right. And I think that if the Patriots win that game, mentally, I'm not sure where the Bills would have been. After that, they just couldn't get over the hump to beat the Patriots. And so
it really is crazy that if you look back at like that season, Cam Newton doesn't fumble against the Bills, and you get it in from the one against Seattle. That team might like be a playoff team.
I know, which is wild.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So
they also got very lucky in that they faced the Ravens in a monsoon with a center who could not snap the football. So.
Well, that helped. I mean, listen, you need things to break your way, right? Like,
well, look, part of being a good football team, it's stuff that's not in your control, which is it's in your control to a degree. And I think when Frable talks about punishing bad football, it's just not doing the dumb stuff. And you're always going to do some of the dumb stuff. There's no football team in history that's gone a season without a penalty or without allowing a sack or without a turnover. Like, things are going to happen. But you just got to, like, limit that stuff. And if you do that, like we saw for years here in New England, Patriots just limited those things. Other teams would come in and, like, psych themselves out and make dumb mistakes and hand you a free point, free score, field goal, or touchdown somewhere during the game. And like, all right, you're already better than them. And then you're spotting us points and the game's over.
Yeah.
And Patriots probably aren't going to be better than you right now. I mean, they might be with this schedule, but as long as you just don't do the dumb stuff, I don't think it's a coincidence they didn't turn the ball over last week. And we saw how that went. They just don't put the ball on the ground. Don't put it in harm's way. May had one bad throw,
right,
which is his first throw of the game, which is a pattern for him. I would like him to start games with, like, maybe he just needs like 5 more throws and warm-ups.
I know.
I don't know.
I will say the other throw, was it to Diggs over the middle? Wasn't a great throw. And the throw down the sideline to Keyshawn Booty wasn't a great throw. But for the most part.
Those at least were caught.
The Diggs one wasn't caught. It was short of him. But nevertheless.
But
like, he had 3 incompletions. And one of them was thrown.
One of those, yeah. So it's like that's the other thing we're talking about here. It's like, it's not like this. May has issues and things that he needs to work on, but at this point, it's not so big of a concern that it's going to stop him from being a good quarterback. Like,
right.
These are things that are the difference between him being a good quarterback and a great quarterback, or a great quarterback and an elite quarterback. But I feel very good about already being over the Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi,
Thank the Lord.
Cam Newton hump. Who knows if we end up being stuck in quarterback purgatory, where we end up with a guy who's between the 8th and 12th best quarterback every year and always good enough to get you into the playoffs and not good enough to win. But like, I if we get to that point, we'll talk about that when we get there. I'm just happy we have a guy who can be in that conversation.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, even if that's where he is, if you're telling me we're in the playoffs every year, you never know. You never know. You never know.
Unless you're the Cowboys, and then you know.
Well, yeah, but the Cowboys also have terrible head coaches. So, like, you know, and the GM's a buffoon. So that doesn't help. But, you know, but anyways, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, oh God, imagine if we were stuck with like Joe Milton or something like that, and we just it's brutal.
I will say, you look back now, and the people who wanted Joe Milton to play over Drake May, it's just like that was always going to be an awful take. I'm just like, and I get the flash with Milton, but I don't know if it's just the Patriots fan base that does this, but I do love that this is such a consistent thing, and it's not even just a quarterback. Like, people have been in our chat since August talking about when's Efton Chisholm going to play? When's Efton Chisholm going to play? Nobody cares about the 3rd round receiver we drafted who's playing. They all want to see the undrafted kid. Right. So it's consistent with this fan base, that's for sure.
It's very true. That's very true. They always are looking for. Well, and I think too, the other thing is that we have Tom Brady syndrome, right? Where we have Tom Brady and Julian Edelman syndrome, where it's like these guys come out of nowhere. Troy Brown was an 8th round pick. The 8th round literally doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. So, you know, it's that guy that comes out of nowhere. Those are the guys we want to root for, not the 2nd round pick, not the 1st round pick, the number 3 overall pick in the draft, because we're not smart if we just draft a good quarterback at number 3 overall. But we are smart if we take this guy in the 7th round. By the way, I'm sorry, the Bears took Caleb Williams over Drake May. Who looks better right now? And maybe the Bears are a mess, and maybe the Bears are ruined Caleb Williams.
I think Caleb looks pretty good. So I will say right now, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels is hurt. But like, I think that Caleb and Drake just this season have outplayed what we've seen from Jaden Daniels. Obviously, Jaden Daniels also has a full season as a starter at like top 5 level. So we're going to, I'm not going to say that they're better than Jaden Daniels yet, because I want to see him when he gets back on the field, and we're able to see more. But like I said at the time, I thought there was a world where Washington's not going to, like, they're going to regret that pick. I will say I think Chicago is regretting thinking that Drake May was like undraftable or whatever it was they thought about him. That is one of the dumbest takes I've ever heard in my life.
Just insane that you can't have an actual dialogue about it.
Yeah.
So, but
I will say with Jaden Daniels, for those who remember, one of my big concerns with him is that skinny guy likes to run a lot, worry about injuries.
Yep.
Here we are, year 2, and he's already missing time.
Right.
Might prove to be an anomaly. We will see.
Might not last, but he was incredible last year, and so we'll see. And Nikhil points out, JJ McCarthy, and I agree. Like, Tommy Kahn won't back off of his take that JJ McCarthy is the best quarterback from that draft. But he might have to soon, because
that's insane to me. Like, I love JJ McCarthy as a Michigan fan. Like, I liked him more than most in that class.
Right.
And I can't see any way that you could evaluate that he's the best quarterback in that class from the tape or from the coaches. Like, I can't make that math work.
It makes no sense to me. And you're dropping him in Minnesota with KOC, right? And Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison, and the list goes on, and Aaron Jones, and the list goes on and on and on, and a good offensive line. And you're like,
no, not a good offensive line.
Oh, because did Darisaw get hurt?
Not only is like Darisaw hurt, they're down to like basically worse than Vidarian Lowe at left tackle.
Oh, that's right. So you're right. So okay, fair point.
They're like if you.
On paper, they had a good offensive line, and then everyone got hurt.
It's almost like if you gave the 2007 Patriots the 2024 Patriots offensive line. Is basically obviously not calling JJ McCarthy Tom Brady here, but
Right.
Just like they got a great supporting cast, and the offensive line has been so bad that they can't. I think that's my takeaway from the Vikings so far. Like JJ McCarthy has looked like a rookie quarterback, and the offensive line has made it impossible for most things about that offense to function the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. I mean, they won a game with Carson Wentz, so they're doing okay. And they lost the game with Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz remembered he was Carson Wentz, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose.
Yeah.
So,
They also had a game on the line drive and didn't throw once to Justin Jefferson. So like, what are we doing here? You gotta even if he's double covered. We've seen him make those catches. You got to give him at least one shot.
It's Justin Jefferson, for God's sakes. Yeah,
that is insanity to me.
But, anyways, all right. Let's do a quick ad read, and then we'll kind of go into start talking about the Patriots Bills game a little bit. This ad read, of course, for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. It's the number one daily fantasy sports app on the market today. Lots of football going on, lots of baseball going on. Again, I told you, hockey's about to be going on, basketball's about to be going on. You got tennis that you can throw in your lineups if you want. And again, one of my favorite things about Prize Picks is that you can mix and match your lineups. You want to throw in a baseball guy with your football guys, you can do that. You want to throw in a hockey guy or a basketball guy, you can do that as well. And I think that, that's one of the appeals for me. And again, they do allow with quick and easy deposits and withdrawal. They do Apple Pay, Visa, MasterCard, Venmo even. They do a ton of different stuff. And so you can get money in and out of your account quickly. All you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 guys, 2 to 6 players. You put them in your lineup and you can win money. My lineup for this week is a fun one. It's a fun one. I think I like it. I like the way it looks. We'll see what happens, but I always like it, and usually it doesn't work. But I like this one. I have Jonathan Taylor for more than 108.5 rushing and receiving yards combined. I have Jake Ferguson for more than 44.5 receiving yards, and I have Drake May for more than 0.5 passing touchdowns. Lock it in on Drake May. I feel good with the other 2 as well. So what you're going to do is download the app Prize Picks. You're going to put in the promo code CLNS. When you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups when you do that. Again, download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS, and when you play your first $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in lineups. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. So I think the biggest issue with this Patriots team is I think the Bills defense is fine, and the Bills defense kind of presents some problems to the Patriots. It looks like Matt Milano and Ed Oliver are both going to be back, which is unfortunate for the Patriots because if they weren't, I feel like the Patriots could run all over this team. With them being back, I'm significantly less confident about that. But I'm not. I think Buffalo's defense is fine. They're not in some elite defense that I think is going to shut you down all game long because they're that good. And so I do think the Patriots will have some success. The problem to me is the other side of the football. I don't know how you stop Josh Allen.
Well, and I think you look at that. Like right now, Patriots by EPA per play, the Patriots and the Bills are like a little bit below average on defense right now. A lot of that for the Bills has been their tackling, especially from the second level, hasn't been good. Also, TJ Sanders, a defensive tackle they drafted this year, can't stop the run at all. He's like unplayably bad against the run. So, like the Saints broke off some big plays against them in the running game last week, and like they have not played a hard schedule other than that opener against Baltimore, and their defense has really not been that good. But you look at that meme that's like those dragons and like three of the dragons look tough and one of them just like silly.
Yeah.
That right now. Okay. The Bills passing offense, number 1 in the NFL in EPA per play. The Patriots passing offense, number 3 in the NFL in EPA per play. The Bills rushing offense, number 1 in the NFL in EPA per play. The Patriots rushing offense, number 32 in the NFL.
That's
in
checks
EPA
out.
per play. Which
It's
I'm going to guess
unbelievable.
a significant amount of that is going to be the fumbles.
Yeah.
But it's great. We came into the season being like, all right, we think the Patriots are going to be able to run. Can they run well enough to throw the ball? Instead, they can just throw without being able to run.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. But I feel like that might be what decides this, because I think both teams are going to be able to throw pretty well, and it might come down to who can balance that with the running game better. And so the matchup might just end up being Patriots offensive line in the trenches against the Bills defensive line on the ground. Can you do enough to back off that Bills front or whatever, and have a couple big plays in the running game?
Yeah. And really, I think you're right about that. And again, that's why the Oliver and Matt Milano, them coming back, I think is so important for them, because they do have some guys that can get after the passer, right? AJ Epineza is a good pass rusher. They have other guys that can get after
Joey
it.
Bosa. Joey Bosa.
Oh God, they have Joey Bosa. That's right. He's been good this year too.
Yeah, he's their best pass rusher so far this season. So this will be, this is gonna be a real big test for Will Campbell.
Yep.
Primetime game on the road, elite veteran pass rusher on the other side. I don't know. I actually don't know how much he lines up on the left versus the right. I don't know if they move him around or whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
But if for Morgan Moses and Will Campbell, it's going to be keep and make, which I think then comes back to the running game. The simple thing, you want to back off pass rushers. You gotta find a way to block a little in the running game, and we'll probably also see a lot of May get moved out of the pocket, as we have all season.
Well, I think for me, at least, I think that's one of those things that I think they've done a really, really good job with Drake May, is that they've moved him around. He's so good. He's so good at getting out of the pocket. He's so good at throwing when he's on the run. That throw to Hunter Henry, I know it was a 4-yard pass. That throw to Hunter Henry was a really difficult pass through a thimble, right? And he puts it right on him, and that's the type of throw that he makes.
We saw May make really high quality throws at all three levels of the field last game.
Yeah,
the throw to Henry in the intermediate game on third long or third medium, and then the deep pass to Diggs.
Yeah,
you need that again.
I agree. And by the way, speaking of him, you got to think. Stephon Diggs. Now, listen, he's played against them already, but I think he only played them. I think last year they played him in Houston. Did they not? Did the Bills go to Houston last year?
Pretty sure that was it was definitely in Houston.
So it's the first time he's going back to Buffalo since leaving Buffalo. You got to think he's going to be supremely motivated. I mean, listen, he was running off the field after the game, where he just caught 100 yards, for the first time in however many games. And he was saying, hey, we got to get back to work at a big one next week. Like, he's got this one circled. And so I think, that he's going to have a solid game. At least, I hope. But my hope is that the guys do seem to follow him. He seems to be the leader in that room. And, I think they're going to be up and ready to go. And listen, I think they did exactly, and we kind of talked about this on Sunday, but they did what we wanted them to do, wide receiver wise. Not everything, because I'd still like to see Kyle Williams play a little bit more. But you move Stephon Diggs into the slot, and you basically just flip Kyle Williams and Pop Douglas.
Okay, so I will say this is interesting, because that's what I thought happened, and then I went back and looked at some of the numbers. That was actually the second least that Stephon Diggs has played in the slot this season.
So who the heck was in the slot?
There were a lot of plays where instead of putting Diggs in the slot, they used him as the X receiver, but instead of having him all the way out wide, they brought him closer to the line. So they were almost simulating that he was in the slot where he has the ability to go to the outside. That's interesting. Like a couple of those big plays came off of things like that, where they call it a cut split. Yeah, that shocked me when I went back and looked at the numbers about where he lined up. But no, he only played 7 snaps in the slot on Sunday.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Nevertheless, though,
yeah.
you,
Well,
you
they had a lot of plays too where they would put him outside and Kyle Williams outside and Pop in the slot. When they brought Pop in, that's what they were doing. And it
right.
was a lot of like the big play to Diggs where he ran the crosser was like that, where it was Pop and it's Kyle Williams on one side running posts left to right, and then Diggs comes right to left across the formation, and they're distracted by the two posts, and he's just got room to run and is able to take it and go.
Yeah.
Which still works.
Right. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter how they do it. The point is that Pop played a lot less. Now, I would like to see Kyle Williams play a lot more. And your point, which I think is funny, is that, everyone is screaming about Efton Chisholm playing and benching Pop Douglas. What they should be screaming is play Kyle Williams more, right? I think Mac Hollins has been a good receiver for you. I think Mac Hollins has been a reliable receiver for you. He's been a decent blocker, not the best blocker, but a decent blocker. But for me, I want to see Kyle Williams in the field. I want to see Kyle Williams balling out because that's what's going to put this offense over the top, is to have a guy with the type of speed that Kyle Williams has. That's how we're going to get this offense to play well. And listen, you can give him reverses, once a game or something like that, but ultimately, you got to be able to get him the ball. The problem is when you don't play him, and then he gets on the field, then you're like, well, he's going to get the ball. Like when Marcus Jones plays offense, right? Marcus Jones played offense a few times, scored a touchdown against the Bills, right? Was it Thursday Night Football? I think it was.
Yeah, December 1st, 2022 on the throwbacks. Still remember that one.
That's why I bought this jersey.
And we have another December 1st primetime game in the throwbacks this year.
Look at that. So actually, that's not true. I had bought this jersey before, and I was wearing this jersey at that game. But nevertheless, He scores a touchdown in that game. He was on the field for one offensive snap. Everyone on the field should have known he was getting the ball, right? Like Marcus Jones on offense, he's getting the ball. So it's almost like if Kyle Williams isn't playing enough, if he goes in motion or if he's moving in some sort, it's like, well, Kyle Williams getting the ball. Like, let's pay attention to that because we feel like he's going to get it. If he's playing 35 snaps, 25 to 30 snaps a game, you look at it and say, all right, now at least we don't know for sure he's getting the ball, right? And that's kind of the way I look at it, is that, you can listen. The passing offense has been doing well. So I'm not saying change everything that we're doing about the passing offense, but I would like to see Kyle Williams get a few more reps out there.
I will say, they gave him a scheme to touch on the end around when they had that penalty near the goal line.
Yep.
And Mac Hollins just couldn't finish his block on the play. I forgot who was trying to block. It might have been Nick Scorton. I think it was Nick Scorton. And if he finishes the block, Kyle Williams might have a touchdown because the rest of it was blocked. He's at least going to have a one-on-one with the safety. And if he's in the end zone. They also had, there was a play in the second quarter where they called a deep shot and May checks it down to Trevion Henderson. And Kyle Williams is running one of the deep routes on that. And he gets kind of double coverage. It's one high safety and the safety's going his direction on it. And he still might beat it. And then the other thing that caught my eyes on the other side of the field, Kayshon Boutte getting a step on his vertical route. Not because of his speed, but because of his savvy. He's turned into a really good route runner out there.
Yeah.
It just opens up a second too late for May to see it. And he just takes a check down where if Henderson makes one man miss, he might take it to the house, and instead he can't quite get the guy to miss, and it's still a 7-yard pickup.
Right. Yeah. And
that's still a successful play.
Well, that's the thing, is ultimately, right, I don't mind taking a check down to someone like Trevion because I do think that he can make some plays. I was happy with the wiggle I saw from him against Carolina. I thought he looked a lot more comfortable out there against Carolina than he has, his first 3 games. And so hopefully he continues to get more comfortable as he goes. They didn't ask him to do much pass blocking, which I think was probably a good idea. Yeah. But, I think hopefully as he gets more comfortable with what he's doing, we'll see more of that come out. But listen, the offense has been solid. And again, to me, it's going to come down to, and look, it's so funny, but you just look at it and say, well, it's the Bills, right? Like You can't make mistakes. You can't. Like, this is what the Patriots used to do all the time. You look at it and say, okay, we're the Patriots. We don't have to play a perfect game. But we know that you're going to screw up at some point, and we're not. And so when you screw up, we're going to take advantage of that. That's what the Patriots did for 20 years. And the Bills, they haven't been blowing teams out, and they played the Saints last week. They won by 12, but they played the Saints last week, and they were fine, but nothing crazy. And they played the Dolphins the week before that, and I figured they'd blow them out. And, no, the Jets. Was it the Jets or the Dolphins the week before?
Don't remember.
I forget. Doesn't matter. Whatever. One of the crap teams in the AFC East they played, and it was a close game all the way through. And so it's the same type of thing where it's like they should be able to blow that team out, but they're not blowing that team out. But ultimately, they can do enough to win, right? They played the Saints. That's who it was. They played the Saints too. And they played the Saints this week, right? Duh. And then the other one was the whatever AFC East team it was. I forget. Again, I forget which one it was. But then they play the Ravens, and they play them tough all game long, and they force a turnover at the end. And
it was the Dolphins. They beat the Jets like 30-10, and then the Dolphins game was way closer than people thought. That's what it was.
Right. That's the one. Okay. Yeah. So they haven't played great teams either, right? Now the Ravens are a good team. They just have started out 1-3, but nevertheless, God bless you. But I do think, I think that you have to limit the mistakes. And you said it's not a coincidence. Patriots didn't turn the ball over on Sunday and won 42-13. They're not going to win 42-13 in Buffalo. Okay. But if they don't turn the ball over, they might not lose 42-13 either. And I think that's, that gives them the best chance of being competitive, is not making mistakes, not allowing the Bills to benefit and profit from their mistakes. And as long as they can limit that stuff, I think they give themselves at least a chance to be competitive.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, a player I'm going to highlight to start with this whole thing, Ramondre Stevenson. I have a stat for you here on him. Running back leaders by missed tackles forced per attempt.
Okay.
Number 1, Ashton Genty. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor. Number 3,
nice.
Bijan Robinson. Number 4, Ramondre Stevenson.
That's pretty good.
Ramondre has been good when he isn't fumbling this year, and he's your best back in pass protection. I think he looked fine. Ball security was not an issue this past Sunday. Hopefully you build some confidence with that. So I think you're going to need the rushing attack. And I think Trevion Henderson's going to have to be a part of that. You don't draft a guy in the top 40 at running back to use him as a third running back as a rookie. You expect him to be a serious contributor. But also, you got to play the guys who are good. And right now, Ramondre Stevenson's your best running back, again, as long as you can trust him to hold on to the rock.
Right.
I think you're going to – I think there's two ways about this, I will say. We have seen Josh McDaniels go into games and be like, yeah, screw it. We're not going to be able to run. We're just going to throw it all the time. And maybe they have enough faith in Drake May to pull out, the 2014 divisional round Ravens playbook where they just ran it 7 times. I don't know if I would do that here. I would not ask him to do that on the road in primetime Buffalo with a well-coached defense with pass rushers who can get in your face. I just don't know if that's the way you want to do that. So,
right.
I think you're gonna need at least some of that running game, and I think getting something from Ramondre, getting a genuine good game that's clean, might be one of your. I wouldn't say like an X factor, but like I don't know, a Y factor. Is that a thing? Like something that's like a complementary piece. Like Drake May is your X factor. If you win on Sunday, it's going to be because Drake May maybe outplays Josh Allen. But you need the supporting cast to step up, and I think like that's the guy I'm looking at here, other than Stephon Diggs, and a big matchup for him.
Right, I agree. Yeah, we'll see, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We'll see. By the way, Nikhil thinks that Tyler Shuck is the starting quarterback for the Saints. That's incorrect. Spencer Rattler. Actually, Spencer Rattler has not been terrible this year. He hasn't been good.
He's had a couple of mediocre games. Like the Saints have been like one of those like stubbornly mediocre, like we're going to lose, but it's going to be a tough out teams all year,
Right.
except for that game in Seattle where they just didn't show
We got
up.
absolutely blown out. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, another, I'll save that for after our ad break.
Yeah. So let's do our second ad break, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Let me dial this up right here. You're getting me for this ad break today, guys. So haven't done one of these in a while. I'm going to be rusty, so apologies in advance. But I am so excited to catch live NFL football this season. Love going to games, as always. In New York, I try to go when the Patriots come down here. I already have my eyes on tickets for that game right after Christmas when the Patriots come down here. But you don't have to wait that long to go. And with Game Time, it's easier than ever to go to games. Everyone hates when you're trying to get tickets to a game. And you got to, load a website and navigate things, and it's slow, and you got to log in, and you got to change all these settings to try to figure out what the actual good seats are. And then you got to try to figure out, are these good seats? Like, you're looking for pictures. It's just, it can be a hassle. It's not with Game Time. You go right in, you find the game you want. It's just going to highlight all the valuable tickets for you, and the price you see is the price you're going to pay. It works. I've used it quite a bit. Patriots have a bit of a road streak here, so they are not playing at home for another month here, basically. They don't come back home until the end of October against the Browns. But if you want to go to that one, which is a game in very high demand right now, you can do that very easily on Game Time. I got it up right here. They have, it's so helpful. First of all, whatever the cheapest ticket is to get into the game, it's going to be highlighted in red for you, so you just want the cheapest seat. That's right there. And then in each area, the 200s, the 300s, the 100s, if you want end zone, if you want middle of the field, it'll star seats that are more valuable than the other ones in that area. Seats with a good view for a good price. That's why I like using it. I use it all the time for, not just Patriots tickets, but trying to go to a baseball game, if I'm trying to go to a basketball game, if I'm trying to go to a concert. I have used it for, I think, all of those just in the last couple of months. So highly recommend it. Fees are included. I got to read off the thing here. Take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Just one final note on that there. My dad and I did. We do a baseball trip every couple of years where we just go on the road and try to see a bunch of stadiums we've never seen before. And I think almost all of the tickets that I bought for that were on Game Time. And it's super easy. Like, the tickets are, I hate sometimes with other apps, it's really hard to find the tickets in the app so you can pull them up when you get to the gate. Game Time's not like that at all. It's super easy. You just hit tickets and then the one you want, and it loads fast. Which when you're in line and you got people behind you and you're trying to get through, and everyone hates being the person at the front of the line who's fumbling with something trying to pull it up. And I never had that experience with Game Time. You just pull it up and scan it, and it's easy. So that's not in the ad read, but that's just a genuine experience I had with it, which was awesome.
Listen, I feel the same way. So what's funny for me is that I'm someone who likes to buy tickets in advance, and I prefer, and it's just me being old. It's just an old. I'm an old. Okay, guys, that's just the way I am. Mm-hmm. I prefer to buy tickets in advance as opposed to waiting. So I'm going next weekend. I'm going to see the Patriots play the Saints. I'm also going to see LSU play South Carolina. I got both of those games on Game Time, $205 total for both of those games. Feel good about that. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I just look at the Saints, and there's tickets for $35. But I don't care but one of the great things about Game Time is that sometimes they'll discount tickets kind of later on. So if you're willing to wait and you're okay with it, it's not a terrible idea to wait around and then buy them kind of last minute, because usually those prices do goes down a little bit. So anyways, I
feel like if they want us to keep talking about it, they should pay us a little bit more money.
I agree with you. Yes, enough with the Game Time. Yes. But nevertheless,
can I call out what I think might be another X factor in this game?
Let's hear it.
Do you know what's happened in both Patriots wins? Special teams touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I think you don't necessarily need a touchdown in this one, but it helps if you're going on the road and you're trying to pull an upset. Defense and special team scores or big plays there can be the difference in the game. You go back, I think it's the last time the Patriots beat the Bills in a game that both teams were trying to win. Look at that Mac Jones game at home against the Bills. How does that start? Patriots get the ball, they go down the field, they kick a field goal in the opening drive. Like 2 plays later, Jabril Peppers in the zone, undercuts Josh Allen, get the pick, got points, you go up 10-0. And that gives you the cushion you need to, obviously it comes down to a game-winning drive, but you're able to play with a lead for a lot of the games, put you in a better position. I think you're going to need that this week, and I do, we haven't talked about it, but who's on the injury reports this week? Jalen Hawkins, out of practice, came out of the game early on Sunday. He has been maybe the closest thing they've had to an X factor in the secondary so far.
Yep.
You're going to lose the starting safety against Josh Allen. That's tough.
Yeah.
Craig Woodson and Kyle Duggar and Del Pettis. The onus is there's going to be a lot of pressure on those guys. I mean, I think first, don't make a mistake. But Craig Woodson had great instincts on the ball last week that he maybe should have picked off on a third down play. Guys like that, it doesn't have to be a star. Role players can be the difference in games like this. If Del Pettis makes a play, if Alex Austin makes a play, it still counts the same. And I think this is a Bills offense that's going to score on you. You might need 30 to win. So I don't mind the defense taking chances, trying to force turnovers. I don't really care if we give up that many big plays in this one because I think the Bills are probably going to score regardless. I'll trade a touchdown or 2 down the field for a pick, especially if you can get a pick 6 or some really good field position out of it.
100%. You're 100% right about that. And I think that, I'm hopeful that at least that's what they're kind of preaching out there. You have to kind of feel like that's what they're thinking as well, right? Is let's see if we can get, a turnover to give ourselves a short field, or again, maybe even score on defense or special teams. And now it gives us such an advantage over what, over where we could be. And I think that, it could lead to a win. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to win, right? I don't think the Patriots are going to win. I don't know. I think the line right now is 8.5.
It is 8.5.
I might take the points, maybe, because I think they can keep it close.
Yeah. Look, you look at recent games between these teams. We're going to exclude that last one. The Patriots, I guess, technically won. They went up to Buffalo last year as 14-point underdogs and played them to a 3-point game. And a lot of that was Drake May's initial touchdown pass to Keishon Boutte. I mean, we talked about that Mac Jones game, how they started with the lead. They did the same thing in that one. Just drive down the field in the opening possession, score a touchdown, and put a little pressure on the other team. I think you're going to need some of that. I do think your offense, you probably need to score at least 30 points. This Bills offense is elite. For the best passing and rushing attack, you're not going to stop them a lot. So try to minimize the other part of that's going to be red zone stops, both sides. Patriots offense is in the red zone. You got to find pay dirt. I think Vrabel should be aggressive down there too and don't settle for field goals. And the flip side of it, red zone defense has not been that good for New England. So if they're getting down there, that's an area where you'd like to force stops. And as things get congested, if you can force a turnover too, that can be at least a 3-point play, if not a 7-point play to get a pick or a fumble down there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think that to me is where, there's so many guys that play a role, but when you look at the Patriots defensive line, and I know that Christian Barmore the counting numbers haven't been huge for Christian Barmore this year. We see the impact that he has on the field, right? Milton Williams, his counting numbers have been okay, but not huge, which by the way, how in the world did Kayvon Chasen get the full sack for that sack on Bryce Young last week? How's that even possible? Bryce Young tackled himself when he saw Milton Williams, and then Milton Williams got there as Kayvon Chasen got there. How do you not at least give him half a sack on that? It's crazy to me.
I will say, plays like that are why it's useful to talk about pressures and not just sacks. We talk about because you're trying to count how many times does a defensive lineman make a quarterback, poop his pants.
Right. Yeah. And that was one that he was like, oh God, there he is right in my face.
There was another play where I tweeted out the clip. Christian Barmore wins like immediately over a guard and like kind of goes around him and kind of slingshots a little bit. And he has a full head of steam towards Bryce Young. And Bryce Young just like throws it in any direction after that.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you going to do if you're someone the size of Bryce Young with someone the size of Christian Barmore running at maximum speed at you?
Right. And Josh Allen's not a small guy, right? Josh Allen's not afraid of not that Bryce Young's afraid of those guys, but Josh Allen's a bigger guy. He's not as big as those guys. And, if you can have that, Josh Allen's so good rolling out. He's incredible rolling out. You talk about throwing on the run with Drake May, and, Josh Allen's incredible at it and extending the play for as long as possible, right? He has that touchdown. What the hell? What year? I forget what year it was, but like,
is this the one where Mac Wilson could have pushed him out of bounds and didn't quite, and he throws it?
And it's just like
that's the same as the Marcus Jones game, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, his entire body is out of bounds, and he throws an insane dart, and you're like, how does he do that? And so like he can extend plays beyond, when they're going to be. But if you can get that pressure up the middle and force him out and somehow try to hold those edges, right? And whether it's Harold Landry, whether it's, Kayvon Chasen, who I think has not played very well. He's been okay,
he's so up and down. I feel like he's the epitome of this defense of just being a fully boom or bust player. Like he's going to make a couple of good plays in the game. He's also going to have a couple plays where he's totally out of alignment and like messes up and probably a penalty. Like that's the basics this year.
It just lines up wrong. It lines up in the neutral zone. It's crazy. But anyways, I think that, this week more than the other weeks that we've seen is when Barmore, Tonga, and Williams can really make their impact known in the middle of that defense. And again, what you're going to have to do is stop, because James Cook has been effective running the ball inside the tackles, but also outside the tackles, and that's that's really the issue. And Patriots fan kind of brings it up about Kyle Duggar. He's a liability in coverage, but he's very good against the run, and I think that he's gonna. Again, he mentioned Jalen Hawkins probably being out, maybe not being out, but didn't practice today. Doesn't bode well for him playing on Sunday night, especially if he can't play. You feel like Duggar's probably going to get the start, but I think he should be playing anyways because he's the type of guy that should be spying Josh Allen, that should be working with James Cook's going to run it. Okay, I got to be the guy to go after him, right? I got to be the guy to set the edge. You know what I mean? James
Cook has been excellent this year. So
yeah.
Robert Spillane, Jack Gibbons, Kyle Duggar. If Jelani Tavai goes this week, it doesn't sound like he will. He's practicing. I don't think he's going to play yet. Christian Ellis, when he's out there, I'm going to have a lot of leeway in this game for the defense to allow plays because that's simply what the Bills have been this year.
Right.
Just make a couple of your own, which also for all of these guys, we mentioned Josh Allen's size. He's a big guy. Pressures mean less with him because you can pressure him and he'll keep the play alive and turn it into something. You have to get him to the ground.
Right.
That's important for all those guys up front. I'm like, the Bills have one turnover on the season. They have not lost a fumble. Josh Allen has one pick he threw last week.
Yeah.
They've not. The team basically has not made mistakes on offense so far. It's unbelievable. So, like, you're just kind of praying and hoping that they do something bad with the football.
Someone mentioned it last week, and I forget who it was that mentioned in the chat last week, but I feel like this is the Bills' year this year. I feel like if the Bills don't win it this year, I don't know if they're ever going to win it. You're talking about Joe Burrow's.
At least.
Say it again.
Not with this group, at least. It might be, in 5 years when they reassemble things. But
Joe Burrow's going to miss the majority of the season. The Ravens are starting out 1-3. The Chiefs are 2-2, and they look beatable. Now, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They'll be fine because they have Patrick Mahomes, but they don't look like the wagon they've looked like before. So you feel like they're a beatable team. I guess so far the best team in the AFC outside of the Bills have been the Chargers, and they just lost to a bad team. So you feel like, the Bills are far and away right now the best team in the AFC. And so you feel like, if you're a Bills fan, you feel like the Patriots did 20 years ago, right? If that 20-year stretch where it's like, all right, the season starts when we get to the playoffs, right? We're not going to have much trouble with the AFC East. The Patriots might give us a game or two. They might. It's possible the Patriots could even beat us in one of these two games, right? But chances are you're going at least 5-1 against the division, if not 6-0, right?
Well,
The schedule has worked out in your favor that you're playing the NFC South, right? You're playing.
You look at this, like, there's like maybe 3 games they could lose,
right?
Maybe 4. Like, they play the Chiefs, so that's, I guess, possible loss, but it's at home,
right?
They have to go to Pittsburgh. In theory, you can lose that. I just think they're a far superior team. They go to New England again, road divisional games, and the Patriots are the only somewhat competent team in the division other than them right now. So possible. And they play at the Browns, which the Browns aren't good, but that defense is good. And I don't know. They play the Browns in between coming to New England and playing Philly at home, and it's like maybe that's a trap game. That's around Christmas. And guys aren't locked in, and the Browns defense is something. So maybe at Patriots, at Browns, against the Eagles, that stretch late, they drop one. Even then, this Bills team should probably go 15-2 this year.
Yeah, right.
And take the 1 seed in playoffs, go through Buffalo.
Well, and that's the thing. If the playoffs go through Buffalo, then it's okay. That's one of those things where, and again, and Mike, you're not wrong. The Dolphins did almost beat them, right? Any team can lose any game at any time, but this team looks like they're set up. And again, the way the AFC has fallen for them, I would feel like as a Bills fan, this has to be the year. At least we can get to the Super Bowl. Maybe we can't beat whoever gets there, right? Whether it's Philadelphia or LA or, whoever ends up coming out of the West. But you feel like, I'm sorry, the NFC, not the West, but you know what I mean. But you feel like you should at least be able to get to that point, and then we'll see what happens after that.
You mentioned that the Dolphins keeping it close. The Bills still scored 31 points without a turnover, 360 yards of total offense. They still held Miami under 300 yards of offense. And it was a 10-point victory. The only game that has actually been close so far has been the Ravens one, which obviously came down to the wire. So, and I do think that's the tough thing to read about this Bills team. They've undoubtedly been good. Their offense has scored 41, 30, 31, 31, 1 turnover on the season. First in points per drive, 3rd in yards per drive, 2nd in overall points scored. They're 1st in rushing yards and 6th in passing yards. They're lighting things up. They've also played a Ravens defense that might be one of the worst units in all of football so far.
Yeah.
Horrendous. They beat up on the Jets, and they played games that were definitive wins, but closer than they should have been against Miami and New Orleans at home. 2 teams that probably are picking top 5 come May. And I will say the other thing that's favorable about this Buffalo schedule, they have not played a game outside of New York / the New York City metro area yet. Home game, they're at the Jets, so right outside of the city. That's technically New Jersey, but
But close enough.
And this is the end of a 3-game homestand for them. So week 5, and they basically haven't traveled anywhere yet.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah. So easy schedule for them to start. It's entirely possible they don't look as good in December as they look now because of that. That's something that I think as a Patriots fan, you look at this as if there's a weakness here, it's that the Bills are a really good team that it's just not in the tier they look like they're in right now because of who they've played. And then if you go up there and you play a good game, it'll be close.
Right. Yeah. And so you give yourself a chance. But again, you can't make the mistakes you've been making. You didn't make them this past weekend, and you saw what happened, right?
Yeah.
You can't make the mistakes you've been making. And if you can prevent yourself from making those mistakes, if you can stop yourself from making those mistakes, then you give yourself a chance to win. And again, as you said, if the Bills aren't quite as good as they've looked, well, then you really have a chance to win that game, right? And not just compete in that game. And I think that, look, no one's here predicting a Patriots victory, right? But I think that there's a chance, there's a world in which it happens, and it's not some crazy, insane world where Josh Allen throws 4 interceptions and the bus breaks down on the way to the game or something like that. Like, no, like there's a legitimate chance the Patriots could go in and play a really good game and win this game, right? Again, is it likely? Would I bet on that happening? Probably not, but it could happen, and that's at least a step in the right direction because we haven't been anywhere near where the Bills are in the last 4 years.
And this kind of feels like a game where the Patriots lose like 35-27 or something like that, like where it's competitive and close, but it's also clear who the better team is. And I think if they lose 35-27, I'm fine with that.
Right.
Especially if May plays well in that.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So,
one other minor note on this. This is the Bills NFL rivalries game.
Mm-hmm.
So they're wearing the all white, snow / blizzard inspired uniforms on a 79-degree day in October. Love that. Well done. The Patriots will be in their blue jerseys, I presume. So this will be 5 weeks into the season with the Patriots not having worn their white jerseys yet.
Good point.
Nice.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah. I also can I just have one other thing to complain about that's not Patriots related?
Of course.
ESPN. That their presentation of these games, these Red Sox Yankees games, one of the worst things I've ever seen. They spent like half of the lead up with like the intro to the game today, like defending Jazz Chisholm, like acting out after the game yesterday, and it's like, how is this one of the main stories anyone's talking about? It feels like a Yankees broadcast. Well, like Red Sox Yankees games on ESPN have felt like Yankees home games for a long time now, and I feel like it's only gotten worse over time. It's been particularly bad at this series. And then the other thing, I don't know if you noticed, they did a little promo for NHL on ESPN because their ESPN broadcast NHL games that included one broadcaster saying, well, I'm not going to watch that. I don't watch hockey. And another one saying that they also probably were not going to watch it. So good job. Well done.
It's unbelievable.
Have some professional instincts, please. Also, how do you cover sports for a living and not find any joy in hockey?
It's insane. It's insane.
Like,
Maybe
if you're going to work at the worldwide leader in sports, I expect you to find at least some level of enjoyment in basically any competitive thing you can put on a TV screen.
Correct. And again, maybe you're not a big hockey fan, but like hockey's a great game that you can just put on in the background and you could just listen to it. And you hear, and then every now and again, someone, oh my God, or whatever. You look over, and the guys are flying around everywhere. Like, it's an awesome game to have on in the background, even if you're not paying attention to it.
Well, I also think like MLB backed out of their deal with ESPN. It's done after this year because they didn't like the way MLB handled that, or the ESPN handled things. And like, I don't know if you're the NHL right now, you're thinking, can we do the same thing? Because why you want to be broadcast by a company that's openly disparaging your league on some of their biggest broadcasts? Red Sox Yankees playoff game is probably going to be one of the biggest non-college football events that ESPN broadcasts all year. I have to think.
You would think.
Non-college football, non-NFL.
Right.
So like, well, you don't want that. That's not good.
Well, that's it's and I also think too, like, Dan Orlovsky, I don't know if you saw this or not. Dan Orlovsky was saying he can't post all 22 clips anymore, which seems like an edict from ESPN and not from X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, that feels like it's.
Like,
I'm guessing they're going to. That's so dumb.
Doesn't make any sense. Makes zero sense to me.
Spite your face. Yeah, it's. Well, like there's an article
because it's like NFL Plus. It's a streaming service, and you're competing against NFL Plus because you're ESPN Plus. That's just, I mean, insanely stupid. Insanely stupid.
Yeah. Side note: I know everyone complains about the Apple TV games when the Red Sox get them, but like there's a Yahoo article today talking about ESPN, and they mentioned how at least if you're an Apple, you can pick what audio they have their broadcast, which their broadcast audio is always good, or you can listen to either of the local radio networks,
which is cool.
Yeah, like for all of the gripes,
it's not 100% synced up though. If you're listening,
it's not perfect. But like for all of the gripes with and I get them with having games behind a paywall on Apple TV. Like, that stinks to have to shell out a little bit more money to go see your team play, especially when it's on short notice. They have a much higher quality broadcast what ESPN puts out there, and it's not close. Like, you noticed that yesterday during the games, I think it was the Cubs Patriots game. Like, there's like home teams hitting home runs, and you can't hear the crowd because the audio is so bad.
It's insane.
But then you go to the next game, and it's Red Sox Yankees, and the crowd audio is so blown out that anytime a Yankees player does anything, your speaker's crackling.
Yeah, it's wild.
Can we get can we get professionals in here to fix this?
It's insane. I will say, back in the day, this is before your time, Matt, because the FCC put in that 10-second delay after the Janet Jackson incident. Mm-hmm. Before the Janet Jackson incident, we would watch Red Sox games at home. My dad would mute the TV and put on the radio, and we'd listen to the radio broadcast while watching the television. And so that's what you can do now on Apple Plus, which is really cool. And so, and again, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. But that's cool. It's cool to be able to do that. And again, give me people that care about the game, that know about the game, that when I listen to it, I'm like, okay, when I listen to this guy, I think, or girl, depending on who it is, right? I think about this sport when I listen to them. When I hear Joe Buck's voice, it's October baseball, baby. Like, it's October baseball when I hear Joe Buck's voice, right? And so, and that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I get it. I hear Troy Aikman's voice, or I hear Chris Collinsworth, or I hear, well, John Madden, of course, has passed away, but obviously, like, when I hear those guys, that's football. That's meaningful football, and it's funny because Tony and Jim Nance haven't necessarily gotten the great. Have gotten good games, but once you get in the playoffs, it's like, okay, you really hear that. You hear those guys, and you have those memories that bring you back to those games. And so it's, I don't know if I feel that way with Major League Baseball. I mean, listen, Carl Ravitch did baseball tonight forever. Play-by-play guy, he's fine, but I don't know, he's not great.
Well, and you have routinely felt that their analysts just don't care that much. And it's like, if you put someone in the box who is excited about the sport, and because of that has done their research and their excitement bleeds through, you're going to get a good broadcast. You're going to have, and they just don't, they have not seemingly cared to do that. I mean, the Alex Rodriguez broadcasts have always been painful when he was on there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, they just don't, the things, I was like, the things that they choose to focus on during a game are very rarely the things that caught my attention.
Right.
And I felt that way routinely about ESPN broadcasts for a long time. And maybe I'm alone in that, but I have a feeling a lot of other people feel the same way, that like they're interested in something that happened during the game and it never gets brought up to bring up something that they didn't think about and don't care to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just is what it is. So anyways, that's enough ranting about
Patriots Bills note.
ESPN. Go ahead.
Unless the Patriots go there in the playoffs, this is going to be their last game up at Highmark Stadium /
Good point.
Ralph Wilson. This is it. They got a new stadium. The new stadium does look pretty nice. It's one of the ones. It's kind of like Miami's, where it's like semi-enclosed, where there's I think stuff over where the fans sit, but the stadium or the field itself is open air, which I love because you're in the north and embrace the snow football.
Correct.
Looking at you, Cleveland. Looking at you, Chicago.
Yep.
Weak.
Crazy.
They don't want it. They're not built like us.
And they also won a Super Bowl. That's why they're doing it, because they won a Super Bowl. I don't necessarily blame them for that. I mean, the Patriots will never get one. The Bills will never get one and the Bills probably wouldn't get one anyways. But the Patriots will never get one because they're not in a dome. And it is what it is. But anyways, they're on the list for me next year, because I do go to one away game next year. I will go to one away game every year. Next year they're playing in Kansas City, so that's number one on my list. But
I think they had I was looking at, if things stay as expected, the Patriots have a tough schedule next year.
They do. Yeah.
Even outside of who they play based on division finish.
Yeah, because I think they play the AFC. Do they play the AFC West and the NFC North next year? I think it's the NFC North, right?
I think, yeah. And it's
And
the AFC West, and I think the 2 road games are the Chiefs and the Chargers.
yeah, it's rough. It's not easy.
No.
So
yeah, no, it is the Chiefs because it's like 2020. They played in Kansas City, and they played in LA. So
yeah,
it's gonna be that again. And they play in Chicago, I think. They get Green Bay at home.
yep.
NFC opponents will be what they were
in Green Bay in 2022, so it would make sense that they have Green Bay at home.
It'll be what they had in 2018, which is Minnesota and Green Bay at home, Chicago and Detroit on the road. Yes, they're going to play at Detroit. They're going to play at Kansas City. They're going to play at the Chargers.
It's tough,
guaranteed, and at the Bills, all guaranteed next year before anything else happens.
Yeah, so it's tough. That's tough, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's not easy. Not an easy schedule. But anyways, let's get through 2025 before we worry about 2026, I suppose. But that does it for us tonight. Just one quick programming note for us. We are not going to be live Sunday night, halftime of Sunday Night Football, because the Patriots are playing halftime Sunday Night Football. And so we instead are going to be live on Monday night, probably not at 10 o'clock, but after everyone else is done, maybe like 9:30, somewhere on there. So we'll be live Monday night, breaking down the Patriots against the Bills. That does it for us. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to the chat for playing along and giving us some good content. And we appreciate you as always. And be good to each other and go Pats.